Buntricia's total package. Our next speaker, Miss Buntricia Bastian. She is an international master educator and celebrity makeup artist. She has been a teacher in the industry for more than 30 years and currently is the featured educator of the Sandals and Beaches Resorts. Ms. Bastian has experience working on television, movie sets, and a variety of magazines. So she's going to share with us through the next about 45 minutes how to really create a flawless look with makeup and take 10 plus years off your age. Please help me welcome to the podium Miss Buntricia.
Hello. Howdy.
Howdy. You have everything you need?
I have as much as a girl can be prepared.
Good. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. We're going to make this as painless as possible. It's actually less work than people want you to believe that it is. Here is my my model. She's the victim of the day. Now today what I'm going to cover, I'm going to try to give you 34 years of arrow making and make it into 45 minutes of spectacular. Now, normally I don't use a model this young. I really don't like young people. They have all the things I used to have. Hair, didn't miss the hair. So, as they mentioned, my name is Buntricia Sophia Garnet Creighton Bastian. Been married a couple times. So, what we're going to do today, I'm just going to show you really how effortless it is. You just have to use the right tools and the right products in order for you to get that spectacular, flawless look every single time. Now, keep in mind that everything, all the things we hated about when we were in school comes back to bite you when you get older. All the things we didn't like, lines and angles, you find that when you follow lines and you follow angles, those are the things that's going to take years off. So sometimes it's not what we use, it's how we use the product. Now, once upon a time, people were huge on things had to be mineral. But as we're finding as we go, I trained a staff at Sandals and Beaches worldwide. Now, they did last year over 27,000 weddings. And what we find, all of the Sandals and Beaches have something in common. They're all in the tropics. So there's humidity, there is heat, but at the end of the day, every single bride, everybody that come to you for makeup for a special occasion have one thing in common. They all want to look fabulous. So this is where common sense have to kick in. So it's not, so the average person will tell, well, I don't wear a lot, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. But remember, no matter what the cost of the event is, for example, a bride, if she's paying $200, $2 million, $20,000, everybody will have just one thing left, and those are their pictures. They want to look flawless, and they want to look fabulous. Now, how do you take years off and do it effortlessly? We're going to start with Christina. This is Christina. Now, Christina has, as you can see, she has a lot of hyperpigmentation. So when you're working, you want to work smart instead of working hard. So you want to choose products that's going to take the years off, going to give you the coverage that you need, all in just one fair swoop. Now I'm going to drape her as usual because I don't want all of a sudden she tells me that her outfit comes from Neiman Marcus when it's really from Forever 21 because I get stuff on it. So if you get a little warm, you can let me know. She has as much hair as I have none. And what we're going to do, The first thing I always use, I never, ever, 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 never use a sponge. When do I use a sponge? Never. Couple things. A sponge is an oxymoron. A sponge is intended to absorb, not to deposit. So when you want something to absorb things away, a sponge is what you use. When you want to deposit and lay product where you want it, you always use a brush instead of a sponge. If any of you are familiar with SpongeBob SquarePants, you have all these tiny little holes all over him. Your sponges have the same thing. Now, manufacturers, whenever they sell you a product, will always have a sponge in the compact because they intend for you to finish the product twice as fast. But as an artist, you should know that you don't want to use a sponge. Plus, the sponge have air pockets. And when you do, most of your cameras now are high definition, so it shows even your memories. So what you have to make sure is that you use something that's going to give you the coverage that you want, first of all. Now, one of the first things that I always use is a primer. Now, this one's new, so it's going to take a minute for me to pump some up. You want to use a primer. A primer does a couple things. The first thing a primer does, a primer will mattify the skin. So if you're worried that you're oily, you don't have to worry about oil because the primer will temporarily lay your sebaceous or your oil glands dormant. So that's what a primer does first. The second thing is that a primer is like putty. What it does is a ridge filler. So as you lay the primer on the skin, what it does is fill in all of the lines and fill in all of the pores that are just wide open. So it gives the skin a more flawless finish. However, I don't put a primer on first. I put the primer on with the foundation all at the same time. Because the primer mattifies, what happens is that especially when you get someone with a darker complexion, anything that mattifies has a tendency to be drying. So if it's drying, it's going to have a residue. Oh, she's saying, oh, I'm getting this. So if you put the primer on first because it has no color, you have a tendency to overcompensate. So what happened, you'll just put it just anywhere, and then when you take the picture, all of a sudden you see a little white line against the hairline. That's because you overcompensated with your primer. But if you put the primer and the foundation on at the same time, you'll be more careful where you place it because you don't want foundation to lay in the hair. Now, I have two options. I either use a HD foundation because it's full coverage, or I use a cream foundation. Once upon a time, people were afraid of creams because they said, well, it's going to be too heavy. But a cream gives you a nice matte finish when an HD foundation does not. An HD foundation, because it's high definition, the megapixels are very high. So when you put it on, it automatically gives a glow to the skin. The only problem is the camera can't tell the difference between glow and shine. The camera's not intelligent. If the camera sees shine, it can't tell that, well, it's only glow. It just looks like oil. So you have to be very, very careful when you use an HD foundation. If you use an HD foundation, do not use an HD powder because you're adding shine to shine. So if you're going to go ahead and use an HD foundation, am I making sense? If you use an HD foundation, make sure you use a regular translucent loose powder. It's totally matte, and what it will do, it will help you cut down the shine, but you will still get that nice glow to the skin that you're looking for. Making sense? Because normally if it don't make sense, it's nonsense. So keep that in mind. Now, what I usually use is a cream foundation. Now, how do you choose the proper foundation for someone's skin? It's actually very simple. Based upon the foundation of choice that you want to make sure that where you want to match, it's not here. She has about 4 different colors going on her skin. Where you want to match is right here. You want to make sure that when you're finished, the neck and the face is the identical same color. So unlike people tell you, oh, match it here, you need to match it that this matches this area right here. So that when you're done, you don't see what is called a line of demarcation. See, what you have to keep in mind that if you're going to take a picture, the camera is going to absorb away a third of the color. So that's why sometimes you do your own makeup at home and you go somewhere and someone take a picture. Now they have Facebook, you post everything. And when you see your picture on Facebook, you're like, wait a minute, what happened? I was fabulous when I left the house. Where does this circle come from? Because the camera absorbs away a third of the color. Whether the camera comes from your phone or is somebody's big camera or small camera, the same thing happens all the time. So as an artist, you have to know that this is going to happen and compensate for it before the person leaves. So I'll show you real quickly how to do that. So I take some of the foundation and I take some of the primer, and when you place it, how you place it is going to take the years off. First thing is that you want to put the foundation in a downward position. Why downward? Because you're trying to lay all of the hair that's on everybody's face flat. HD cameras are going to come close and it's going to see it. So the first thing, everything goes nice and flat. Where do you put foundation? Foundation goes everywhere. You put it on the lips, you put it on the lids, you put foundation everywhere. Notice the lips sometimes are too pink or too dark. What you want, the foundation will neutralize the unwanted tone. See, and that is why, as nowadays they have makeup for dummies. Once upon a time, back when I started 34 years ago, you had medium, dark, and light. Now, you can have foundations that's already color corrected. They have foundation for warms, they have foundations for cools, they have foundations for neutrals. So you don't have to work as hard anymore. So as a makeup artist, you want to make sure you have a tremendous variety of color selection in your makeup kit. This way you're working smart instead of working hard. Why should I stay here and try to churn my own butter when they already sell butter packaged in the supermarket? Makes absolutely no sense. So when you choose your products, you should have a variety of colors. And don't say, well, I don't have those colors because those are not my clients. Because makeup is a skill. If you're not practicing it, you can't get good at it. So the more you do it, is the better you'll become. Don't worry, I've set up quite a few people in my lifetime. Close your eyes. You put foundation on the lids. Now, this is where you're going to start to eliminate years off the face with direction. I'll show you in a moment. Now, as you put the foundation on, I'm putting quite a bit there and moving it. When you go on the forehead, you're going to go in the direction that the hair grows onto the skin. The hair usually grows and lays this way. You have to take it in the same direction. Putting it here, so I show you. You have to use enough foundation that you get a nice full coverage with your foundation. Down in every little line, every little crease. Open your eyes, ask her to look up. Now when you're going to put the foundation underneath the eyes, this is the trick. You have to put the foundation here, and you have to take the foundation up, and you have to take the foundation away. What you're doing, you're using lines to create an optical illusion. Down, under, up, and away. Right away when I take the foundation that way, open your eyes. If you look at her, you'll see that this eye on this side automatically looks like it's higher than the eye on the other side. So it looked like I lifted her eyes, and all I did is just the direction that you took the foundation automatically starts creating a lever. So what you're doing, you're creating an optical illusion just by the direction that you take your brush. Now, if I keep doing this, I'm actually pulling the eye down. If I take it up and I lift instead and take the foundation up and away, all of a sudden the cheekbone look higher, all of a sudden it looked like her eyes are lifted when all I did was put foundation on her. So if you don't use foundation when you're doing a makeover, somebody said, well, I don't like foundation to clog the pores. Don't let anybody hear you say that. That's not even intelligent to say. Because the fact of the matter is, foundation protects your skin during the day. against all the elements, the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. It protects your skin. So when you wash your face at night, you're actually washing away the day instead of it being collected in places where you don't want it.